Greetings, welcome back to CS195 Web Development. This is week 5 CSS fonts. So we have 2 more lessons to go over that kind of are going to be used for the rest of this, and kind of now that we learned different fonts and things that we can do with them, we're going to show you the inheritance and then multiple classes. So in this first lesson, it's inheritance. The concept is whatever you apply the CSS to, everything inside of it, all the child elements, will also get that inheritance. And there's certain, not all CSS does that, so that's why it's going right here, is because most font properties it does, right? So most font properties it does go inherent. So let's go ahead, we'll watch the video and then we'll test out and kind of show you what inheritance is, right? So our CSS criteria, we'll be adding a rule that changes the CS value of a parent element in order to change the children element, right? So again, we will do that right after we watch the video.
Now that you've seen a bunch of properties, I want to point out something that you might have figured out yourself already, a concept called inheritance. Some CSS properties are inherited, which means they get passed down to all the children tags underneath them. For example, the font family is an inherited property. Just by setting it on the body tag, we can see it get picked up automatically by the children tags, like the H1 and paragraphs. It only stops taking effect once another rule steps in, like this rule changing the font family of all the headings to cursive. Another inherited property is color. If we set it on body, we can see it trickle down to all the tags inside body until other rules override it, like this rule here setting the H2s to green. Other inherited properties that we've seen are font weight, font size, font style, line height, text align. Actually, a lot of the ones we've seen are inherited because they have to do with text styling, and browsers figured that web designers would want text styles to trickle down so they don't have to keep defining the styles at each level. Going forward, though, most of the new properties you see won't be inherited.
So that's important to understand, like I said. That's why we're putting it here, because most of the stuff we just went over doesn't do inheritance. So let's talk. So look at what she's talking about real quick. We'll do color because it's easy to see. So you can see the color. The default is this nice little pink color, but then you can override it so the H2s have this. So you can see this. If I delete this, again, all the color is based on this, the body and everything inheritance. So if I, oops, wrong one, I can go back there. So let's go ahead and try this out real quick. Let's see, we'll full screen this. And again, we're not learning anything new per se, as much as going to showing you that this works. So we're going to select this div. All right, so obviously these sentences are going to turn whatever color we tell them to turn. But even though this tag is a separate tag, it's still inside the div. So let's go ahead and we'll just select the div tag, squiggly bracket, enter, and then we're just going to do color green, right? So all of that is inside the div in inheritance. Again, this makes sense. This is in its own tag, but it's still inheritance. So we can override it. So if we want the H2 to be a different color, we do color pink, and now it overrides it. But again, you saw that it inheritance it as well. And again, we can do body real quick because that has everything in it. Give it color blue. So again, all of these are already overridden. All that's left is this inside of here. So again, this UL, and then technically, right, these LIs are inside of the UL, but they're their own tag, so they still get that blue from it. All right, that's really all there is to inheritance. Do be cognizant though, because and this is a really simple web page. If you have divs inside of divs and H2s inside of that div, and paragraphs under that, what I see a lot, and why I show this now, is I see a lot where you'll have some kind of like all my H1s are this, and then all of a sudden you're like, well, why is this like this or not like this or whatever? And it's because you have another element that's changing it. So again, do be cognizant of that. You're like, well, I just gave this div green. Why is my H2 red? Well, it's red because of this. Well, it's pink because of this. So be cognizant. And what's not normally because you have H2s and divs, it's because you have IDs and you just don't have all your IDs and classes memorized, and nor do most people. So that's when it kind of you have all these IDs and classes, and you're like, oh, what did I give that class? So with that, that's the end of this lesson. We'll see you next lesson.